Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. So, first of all, I just want to say a massive thank you for all of the downloads on my last episode. I know it was a slightly different episode, and I know I was talking about, just being completely transparent with you. And I received so many lovely messages from you guys inside my community just saying, I totally get it, I totally relate. And it is so nice for me to know as a content creator and as a coach and as someone who shows up online that I can talk about this side of entrepreneurship and I can talk about this side of turning 30 and what it really feels like to me right now in such a safe space because, as I said before, I love podcasting and this was always my space where I'd show up and I would just talk and it would be fully authentic in the chapter of my life. And then I started to feel like I had to keep showing up as the old chapter of my life when actually I was evolving. And it's nice to know that I can just talk about the evolution as it goes. So thank you for that. And in this week's episode, we're going to be diving into another topic that has been playing heavy on my mind. And actually, I did a TikTok video about the other day and a lot of people commented on it. And that is this feeling of loneliness, right? That I have been feeling myself as an entrepreneur, as a solo entrepreneur for the last 4 years, working online in this business. And this feeling of loneliness has really crept up on me. And I think that it's also important to talk about that because, and by the way, I want to preface this with the fact that I'm talking about this now and I'm bringing these topics into the conversation is because I want to prove to you guys that you can have the strongest mindset going and you can really have nurtured that and worked on that and be very, very successful in life and still have these thoughts and feelings creep in and that it's completely normal and it's completely okay. But if we're able to talk about these things and if we're able to actually move through it in this way, bringing the feelings up to the surface, basically, then you move through it so much quicker and you're not masking, you're not moving around the world masking. And that is a surefire way of not creating anything that you want into your life because when you're showing up in an energy that is false, like you are going to call things in that are just as masked and fake. So I think it's really, really important that we talk about these things. So loneliness. Now, I'm not a lonely person, let's be honest. Like, I have the most amazing support system around me. And I think there's some people out there that have completely no support system. So there's a difference, right? But this feeling of loneliness is really coming from a place of, it's almost when your soul knows that you are supposed to be more social right now. You're supposed to be hanging out with more people and doing really fun things and fulfilling your life in that way, and you're just not. And even though I have close friends and I have my family around me, what I've found is that over the past 4 years, when I first started my online business, there was a huge boom in it, right? Because this was actually over COVID. It was over that time of lockdown where we couldn't go out anywhere. And there was a huge boom where lots of people went online because we couldn't do anything else. And so many people became successful in that time, including myself. And this was such a powerful time for me. I really came into my own in that time. I'd for years been so in the background, very low in confidence. I couldn't even speak. Great, I couldn't even speak up. And I fully came into my own where I did a lot of my inner work. I was kind of forced into it because if you guys know my story, the reason I got into self-development in the first place was because my ex-boyfriend left me and I couldn't go out at that time. It was legitimately in the moment of that chapter of my life, I just thought like the whole world was ending because I'd just been broken up with after 5 years and I couldn't leave my house. And so I couldn't see my friends, I couldn't go and distract myself. I legitimately had to just stay in and meditate over this. And it pushed me, like really, really pushed me, forced me into my healing. And so I spent a lot of time doing that and I built and grew and scaled this business, and there were so many women that related and needed this help at this time, and I just really felt I was so magnetic in that time. I was so fully I came into myself, right? And what I found was then over the years, because now life has opened up again and we're able to go out and we're able to travel the world and socialize again, I've been slowly feeling, I've been watching basically my friends that are in, let's say, 9 to 5 office jobs or just very social environments in their workspace. And I've been feeling almost jealous. And I know jealous is probably a strong word because the grass is always greener. And one of the things about running an online business is that obviously you lean into the freedom of that and you're able to travel with it and you're able to, you do have more freedom. But at the same time, I do think that when you're in your mid-20s to mid-30s, late 30s, I do think this is the age where being social and being around people is incredibly important. Now, here's the thing, guys. I've been self-employed for the whole of my life. I have never, ever, ever been in full-time employment, which I'm actually incredibly proud of because if I think about it, I'm turning 30 this year, and for the whole of these 30 years of my life, I have never been employed. I have survived and thrived on my own. And, that's not to say it's any better than anybody else. It's just that I'm proud of myself for being able to do that. But what comes with that is that I have also felt at some points in my life, I would love to be working with more people, like just around more people. And, because for over a decade now, I've been an artist and I've been an actor. And whilst I've had the privilege to have been in various different shows across the world, in the UK, and, or on TV shows, and I've been around people for those moments of my life, those chapters, those short contracts, it's not a consistent, steady, working environment with people. And that's brought up a lot of feelings for me. It's a life that I've chosen, and it's a life that probably like most of you guys that listen in have chosen as well. Whether you are a solo entrepreneur, working online, or you are an artist, or even you guys who are in 9 to 5 jobs, but you're working remotely. Because like I said, since COVID, things have changed so dramatically with how people work. You might be in employment, you might be managed by someone, but you might still be working from home. So that might not be a choice. But for me, it has been a choice. And I've realized that with this, it does come this feeling of loneliness, right? In certain chapters, not all the time, but in certain chapters. And I like I said, I put this TikTok video up the other day talking about this loneliness as a solo entrepreneur. And I had so many people comment, like so many other entrepreneurs comment, be like, well, yeah, like I totally feel that too. I don't know really how to get out of this rut. And, I did have some people comment as well being like, I love my own company, so it's all good. But I want you guys to know that what you feel throughout these chapters in your life, when you are feeling lonely, it is completely normal. And I think that it doesn't get spoken about enough, especially for self-employed people, for artists and entrepreneurs, because, a lot of the time people are just looking at our life and going, well, it's amazing because you have all of this freedom. So, I would love to be in your shoes. And it's like, actually, there are some aspects of our life too that can feel tough. And it's okay. And whilst I see that the grass is also greener, and whilst I see that there are, definitely a lot of perks to my life, I also have to honour and respect that there are certain things that I would like, that I desire, that maybe I'm not getting right now as a solo entrepreneur. And this is where I want to actually get to the main message of this episode and talk to you guys about how you're in control of that. And you guys know me, you know what I teach, you know that I am one for telling you that you are the power in your own life and that you can create anything that you want to. And the main thing here that I want to talk about is the fact that if you are feeling lonely, you get to make it a priority, you get to make it a goal, you get to make it the forefront of your vision to create and form and nurture more relationships in your life. So we always focus on these goals of how can we achieve more in my business? How can I make more money? How can I, look the best I've ever looked? How can I become more confident? But really, and I'm saying this because it's something that I've thought about myself really recently, that actually a goal and a vision for my life right now is to have a work environment where I have people around me. That's my vision. And just knowing that that's a goal of mine and accepting that that's a goal has actually made things easier for me, because I've gone, well, it's actually something that I'm striving towards now, rather than sitting in it and thinking, how is my life going to change? All the things that I've taught you guys before about don't be the victim. But this gets to be a vision in your life too. Now, the problem is, and I see this, I've felt this myself, and I also see this in a lot of self-employed artists, actors, people that are out there striving to, like I say, create the career of their dreams by themselves, that we can also fall in love with our own company, which is great. And I think that that is a sign of a successful person, because, like I said, years ago, before I'd done any self-development work, I really struggled even just to be by myself, because I just felt this burning hole in me, like there was something missing from my life. And now I have evolved and I've grown and I've done the inner work, and I don't feel like there's something missing from my life. I just genuinely feel like I should be around more people. But the fact is, I've also fallen in love with my own company, which I've had to do over the years, because I am the person that creates the things in my life, and as we all are. But in terms of business things, I am the person that I have meetings with myself in my room, I have business meetings with myself. So I love my own company. But I do also think that this can end up self-sabotaging us as entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, because and not just solo entrepreneurs, even people working remotely, you fall in love with your own company because you're around yourself every day. But it self-sabotages us, because we then go, okay, well, we'll just keep working. We'll distract ourselves from this slight feeling of loneliness that we might have. We'll just distract ourselves by doing more work. We'll just, create more things, and it feels good to create, and I'll just keep doing that. And then it gets to the end of the day again, and you think, I haven't been out again. I haven't done anything social again. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I am feeling a little bit sweaty even as I'm recording this, because this is me just being so fully transparent with you about some of the thoughts that go through my head. And it's a self-sabotage cycle that I've found myself in, where I distract myself from that feeling of loneliness through work. And that is not healthy. And that is a recipe for burnout, which is what we don't want. So if you are feeling this slight loneliness in your working environment, or just day to day in your life, it gets to be your main priority to form more relationships in your life. That gets to be at the top of your vision. That gets to be your main goal. And as I said, I think as ambitious people that listen into this podcast, a lot of the time, you're not putting those things at the forefront of your vision, because you're putting the career that you're building there, the things that you're wanting to create manifest in your life. But forming relationships and having a working environment life, and just life in general, that feels good to you is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. So my self-employed artists, influencers, remote workers, you guys that are feeling a little bit lonely, this gets to be the forefront of your vision. And for me right now, that's really what I've understood about moving through this time myself. The main message here is that I've understood that gets to be at the top of my priority list right now. So whether that means me actually going into a corporate lifestyle, maybe for a little bit, who knows, maybe just go and try it out. I know that I'm born to be an entrepreneur, so it's that thing probably wouldn't last for me, but it's something that I get to try. It's something that I get to go and explore, because I do believe that you're actually going to become far more creative. You're going to become far more successful as entrepreneurs if you do get out and you get around people, because it's people that spark off inspiration in us. It's being in social environments that give us ideas, that give us this energy to create something new. And if you're sitting in your room by yourself every day, having meetings with yourself, trying to make it work by yourself, not only is that a huge amount of pressure on your shoulders, as someone self-employed trying to do it all by themselves, it's huge pressure, but it's also not going to get you to where you want to be as quickly. Being around people is important. And I could go down a whole rabbit hole of society today and how things have shifted so dramatically since lockdown, and how people forming connections has got harder. But really, the fact is, and you know me and you know what I teach that everything is possible. I teach that you are in control of your life and what is happening in your life. You get to dictate that you can form amazing relationships and still be a successful solo entrepreneur, or still be a successful artist, or whatever it is you want to do in your life. But if you want to create that reality, you have to make it a priority. You have to prioritize forming relationships and put it at the top of your goals, at the top of your vision, if you want to make that a reality for yourself. And maybe it's a case of, if you are an entrepreneur and you're ready to take on more team members and create your own team and have that team of people around you so that you can literally create your office environment yourself, great, go and do that. If that's something that you're in a position to do and you're able to scale it to that point, do it. But also know that you are not a failure if you're a solo entrepreneur or artist that decides that they want to go and get a job where they're in an office environment, or decides that they want to do something with their lives that is more social, that is maybe employment. You're not a failure for that reason as an entrepreneur, self-employed person. You just get to do what is right for you in that chapter of your life. And the leaders of this world, will always find a leadership role again. Like we will just be drawn back to it. But you also have to listen to what your body and your soul and your heart wants, and go for it and explore and get excited by it. Because I think the more you can listen to these other visions, because here's the thing, your body only asks, your soul only asks for things if it's meant to be in your life. So if you are feeling loneliness, it is a sign, it's an energetic sign that you're supposed to have more people in your life. So if you're making that a priority and a goal, you're actually doing exactly what your soul wants. So go and do that. And this week, guys, if you guys have resonated with this, if you are feeling this slight loneliness, please do let me know. Message in, drop me a DM over on Instagram, tag me on your Instagram stories, because I would love to hear, and I would love to just remind people that there are a lot of people out there feeling the same way, and it's okay. These feelings are normal. But go and make this week a priority for yourself to do something more social, if it is something that you've been finding, if you're working on your own every day. Go and make it a priority. Put it at the top of your to-do list, and know that it's okay to be at the top of your to-do list at this chapter in your life. Anyways, I hope this episode has resonated and helped some people. Like I said, you're going to be getting such a whole series of episodes now of me talking so brutally honest with you guys about the things that I am moving through. Like I said, as I am turning 30 this year, and as I'm going through my Saturn return, and there's a lot of things coming to the surface for me, but I already feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders just from talking about these things over here and on TikTok. It's like, and again, I'm ending this episode, so I don't want to go into another whole podcast episode, but it's just a great feeling, because it's reminded me why I even created the personal brand I've created today, and how important personal brands are, and how challenging they can be, but also how amazing they can be. So maybe that's another topic for another episode. But I'm just sending you guys so much love, and thank you once again for all of the downloads, for every single one of you that listens in every week. And let's see what happens next.